There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Describe one of them. A male citizen of any race can vote. Women and men can vote. You don't have to pay to vote. Citizens 18 and older can vote. This question is about voting and amendments. Let's review what we've already learned about amendments. What is an amendment? A change to the Constitution, an addition to the Constitution. How many amendments does the Constitution have? 27. The Constitution was written in 1787. Since 1787, the Constitution was changed or amended 27 times. Do you remember how many amendments are about voting? How many amendments about who can vote? There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. These 4 amendments happen over 100 years of U.S. history, from the 15th Amendment in 1870, which says a male citizen of any race can vote, to the 26th Amendment in 1971, which says citizens 18 and older can vote. In this video, we will talk a little bit about the history of these 4 amendments, and we will talk about some of the men and women who have fought for civil and voting rights. I will talk about a lot of dates and other information to help you understand these 4 possible answers. When you answer this question on your citizenship test, you only need to talk about or describe one of the 4 amendments about who can vote. There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Describe one of them. A male citizen of any race can vote. This answer describes the 15th Amendment from 1870. In 1870, the 15th Amendment comes at the end of the Civil War and the end of slavery in the United States. Name one war fought by the United States in the 1800s. Civil War. In the 1600s, all of the 13 original colonies had slaves. In the 1700s, some states began to abolish or end slavery. Vermont was the first state to abolish slavery in 1777. At this time, Vermont also gave full voting rights to African American men. By the 1800s, there were slave states and free states. Slavery goes against the basic idea in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal. The Founding Fathers allowed slavery to continue when they wrote the Constitution, and this problem led to or caused the Civil War. Name one problem that led to the Civil War. Slavery. From 1861 to 1865, free states in the North fought slave states in the South. Name the U.S. war between the North and the South. The Civil War. After the Civil War, there are 3 amendments to the Constitution about the rights of former slaves, African Americans in the United States. The 13th Amendment in 1865 ended slavery. The 14th Amendment in 1868 gave African Americans citizenship and equal protection under the law. And the 15th Amendment in 1870 gave black men the right to vote. This picture is called the first vote. We see black men in the United States voting for the first time. After the 15th Amendment, black Americans began to enter Congress. This is Hiram Revels. He was a minister and an educator. Hiram Revels became a senator in 1870, the first black person to serve in the United States Congress. This is Robert Smalls. Robert Smalls was elected to the House of Representatives in 1874, representing South Carolina. He helped to write the state constitution for South Carolina and wrote laws for the first free public schools in that state. He was also a businessman and boat pilot. Robert Smalls was a slave until 1862, when he escaped with his family. He also helped other slaves to escape to freedom. He was a slave on this ship. He stole this ship, sailed to free states, and gave the ship to the U.S. Navy. Robert Smalls's bravery helped to convince Abraham Lincoln to allow black men to join the army. A male citizen of any race can vote. This says of any race, but it does not include Native Americans or American Indians. Most American Indians did not have U.S. citizenship until 1924, and up to 1957, there were still some states that did not allow American Indians to vote. Chinese Americans were also excluded from citizenship and voting. A federal law called the Chinese Exclusion Act stopped Chinese immigrants from becoming citizens until 1943. And what is male? A male is a man. This means females, or women, cannot vote at this time, in 1870. There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Describe one of them. Women and men can vote. This answer describes the 19th Amendment in 1920, giving women the right to vote. Many people who fought to end slavery also fought for women's rights. This is Sojourner Truth. She was born into slavery around 1797 in New York State. She escaped slavery in 1826. Before the Civil War, she gave public speeches about ending slavery and the rights of women. She also recruited soldiers to fight in the Civil War. In a speech, later called "Ain't I a Woman?", Sojourner Truth said, "I have as much muscle as any man, and can do as much work as any man. I can carry as much as any man, and can eat as much too, if I can get it. I am as strong as any man that is now." After the Civil War, she tried to help former slaves get homes and land. What is her name? Susan B. Anthony. What did Susan B. Anthony do? She fought for civil rights. She fought for women's rights. In 1872, Susan B. Anthony was arrested after she voted for president. Remember that women do not get the right to vote for another 50 years, so it was illegal for her to vote at this time. During the trial, the judge did not allow Anthony to speak. The judge also told the jury to say that Anthony was guilty. A judge cannot do this. At the end of the trial, the judge asked Anthony if she had anything to say. Anthony spoke to the judge and said, "You have trampled underfoot every vital principle of our government. My natural rights, my civil rights, my political rights, my judicial rights are all alike ignored." The judge sentenced Anthony to pay a $100 fine, and Anthony said, "I shall never pay $1 of your unjust penalty." And Anthony never paid it. In this photo, we see women marching down Fifth Avenue in Manhattan in 1917. They carry petitions with the signatures of 1 million women asking for the right to vote. Before the 19th Amendment, women fought for about 100 years for civil rights and the right to vote. Women like Sojourner Truth and Susan B. Anthony lived to see the end of slavery, but died before they could vote. There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Describe one of them. Women and men can vote. There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Describe one of them. You don't have to pay to vote. This answer describes the 24th Amendment from 1965. You don't have to pay to vote? Wait, that means that before 1965, states could require citizens to pay to participate in their democracy? So why did states do this? Many of the states in the South that fought against the United States and fought to protect slavery made new laws to make it difficult for Black people to vote. This map shows states where you had to pay to vote. Requiring people to pay to vote was one of these new laws. These were also states that had segregation laws. And today, in 2021, there are states that now are making laws to make it more difficult for people to vote. This is John Lewis. He was an important leader of the civil rights movement. What movement tried to end racial discrimination? Civil rights movement. John Lewis worked with other leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. He organized many marches and other peaceful protests. In 1986, he was elected to Congress. As a representative, he continued to fight for civil rights. This is John Lewis at a women's march in 2017. John Lewis died in 2020. Before he died, he began a new law called the For the People Act to protect voting rights. This bill could stop many of the state laws that could make it harder to vote. This bill could also make it easier for many eligible citizens to vote. There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Describe one of them. You don't have to pay to vote. There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Describe one of them. Citizens 18 and older can vote. This answer describes the 26th Amendment from 1971. Before this amendment, citizens had to be 21 or older to vote in most states. So, why did Congress want to lower the age to vote in 1971? When must all men register for the Selective Service? At age 18. We do not have a draft at this time, but in 1971, at the time of this amendment, there was a draft, and there was a war. The United States entered a civil war in Vietnam around 1955. About 2,700,000 American men and women served in Vietnam. 50,000 soldiers died. 150,000 soldiers were injured. Hundreds of thousands of people from Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos were killed. This war was very unpopular in the United States, and at this time there was a draft. An 18-year-old man could be sent to war, but he could not vote for president. Over half of the 50,000 American soldiers killed were between 18 and 20. Americans asked, "If we are old enough to die in war, why are we not old enough to vote?" How old do citizens have to be to vote for president? 18 and older. There are 4 amendments to the Constitution about who can vote. Describe one of them. A male citizen of any race can vote. Women and men can vote. You don't have to pay to vote. Citizens 18 and older can vote. Voting is one of the most important ways that citizens can participate in their democracy. For a healthy and strong democracy, every eligible citizen must be able to vote.